Unexplained road. You won't believe what happened. Some roads take you where you need to go. Some roads take you where you don't want to be. And some roads take you somewhere that isn't supposed to exist. This is the story of Black Willow Road, a highway that appears only at night, where travelers vanish and where some who drive it never find their way back. The road that wasn't there. No one knows exactly where Black Willow Road begins. There are no official maps, no records. But for decades, truckers, late-night drivers, and lost travelers have reported seeing it. Some say it appears when you take a wrong turn. Others claim it only exists if you're not looking for it. But one thing is certain, once you're on it, you can't turn back. The Vanishing Family. The Langford family was traveling through North Carolina in 1993, heading to visit relatives for Thanksgiving. They left home at 7 p.m., a straight shot down the highway. They never arrived. Their car was found abandoned on the side of a rural road 3 days later, the engine running, the headlights on. Inside, police found their belongings, their wallets, their luggage, even their half-eaten fast food meal. But the Langfords were never found. The last known contact was a frantic voicemail left on a relative's answering machine at 10:23 p.m. A single sentence whispered in terror, "We took the wrong road." The wrong turn. Ben and his girlfriend, Rachel, were driving home from a concert in Nashville. It was late, past midnight, and the GPS had rerouted them due to an accident ahead. That's when they saw it. A road that wasn't on the map. It cut through the trees, stretching into the darkness. Rachel hesitated. "Are you sure about this?" Ben shrugged. "It's probably a backroad shortcut." That was his first mistake. They turned onto Black Willow Road, the drive that never ends. At first, it looked normal, just an old highway. But then, the mile markers stopped appearing. Rachel checked the GPS, no signal. Ben kept driving. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20. And then, the headlights flickered. The radio cut out. Rachel turned to Ben, her voice shaking. "How long have we been driving?" Ben swallowed hard. His hands were white-knuckled on the steering wheel. "We should have hit the highway by now." Then, something crossed the road, the figure in the dark through. It wasn't an animal. It wasn't a person. It was too tall, too thin. It moved in jerking, unnatural motions. And as the car passed, the headlights glitched, just for a second. Rachel gasped. The figure was closer, standing right beside her window. Its face was blurred, like something was trying to form but couldn't. Then, it smiled. Rachel screamed. The loop Ben floored it. The car raced down the empty highway, faster, faster. But no matter how far they drove, they kept passing the same road sign. Dead end. 3 miles. Rachel sobbed. "That's the 3rd time we've passed that sign." Ben slammed the brakes. Silence. No wind, no insects. Just the pressing weight of something unseen. Watching. Waiting. Then, a whisper. From the back seat, "You shouldn't have come here." The escape. Ben didn't turn around. Didn't look. He threw the car into reverse. The headlights flickered again. The figure stood in the middle of the road. Closer. Waiting. Rachel's voice was barely a breath. "Ben, it's smiling." And then, the road ended. Not a dead-end sign, not a stop sign, just nothing. Blackness. Like the entire world had been erased in front of them. They had 2 choices, stop or drive into the void. Ben hit the gas for a turn. Ben and Rachel woke up on the side of a different highway. The sun was rising. Their car was parked. The engine was off. They had no memory of how they got there. Their phones had lost 3 hours of time. And in the back seat, there was something new. A rusted mile marker sign, with 3 words scratched into the metal. "You escaped once." The road that calls you back. Black Willow Road is still out there, waiting for lost travelers, for the curious, for you. So if you ever take a wrong turn and find yourself on a road that wasn't there before, don't stop, don't turn around. And whatever you do, don't look in the back seat. That's tonight's story. Some roads take you home, some roads lead to nowhere, and some roads never let you leave. If you like this story, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more terrifying tales. And let me know in the comments, have you ever driven on a road that felt wrong? Until next time, sleep well. Chilling road, a nightmare come to life. Some roads are forgotten, some roads are cursed, and some roads are not meant to be traveled. This is the story of Devil's Hollow Road, a stretch of highway in the deep woods of West Virginia, where the air is always too cold The headlights don't shine far enough, and if you drive it alone at night, you might not be alone at all. The road to nowhere. Devil's Hollow Road is not on most maps. It winds through the Appalachian forests, cutting through hills and vanishing into the trees. The locals say it was once part of an old mining route. But something happened there. Something evil. People talk about cars breaking down for no reason, about headlights dying in the middle of the road, and worst of all, about seeing things standing in the trees. Things that shouldn't be there. The man who never came back. In 1982, a trucker named Carl Bridges took a detour onto Devil's Hollow Road. It was supposed to be a shortcut. He radioed his dispatcher at 11:42 p.m. "This road ain't right," he said. "Fog's rolling in too thick. Feels wrong." That was his last transmission. His truck was found 3 days later sitting in the middle of the road. Engine still warm, but Carl was gone. The only clue left behind? His boots. Neatly placed in the center of the road, and written in the dirt beside them, scratched in shaky, desperate letters, "It comes in the fog." The couple who took the wrong turn, Nina and Daniel, had never heard the story. They were just looking for a quiet weekend getaway, a cabin in the woods, a scenic drive. The GPS told them to take a back road. They didn't know it was Devil's Hollow. They drove for miles. The forest closed in, the air got colder. Then the fog rolled in, thick, heavy, swallowing the road. Their headlights barely cut through it. Daniel gripped the wheel. "We should turn around." Then Nina whispered, "Did you see that?" The figures in the fog. At first it was just shadows, flickering in the mist. Then a shape, a person, standing in the middle of the road. Daniel slammed the brakes. The figure didn't move, just stood there. Its head was tilted, like it was listening. Then it took a step forward. The eyes that watched. Nina reached for her phone. No signal. Daniel honked the horn. The figure twitched. Its arms weren't right. Too long, too thin. And then, more movement. Not just one figure. Dozens, standing in the trees, watching, waiting, and from deep in the fog, a voice, a whisper that slithered into their ears. "You shouldn't be here." The chase. Daniel threw the car into reverse. The figures moved, not running, not walking, just gliding forward. The fog thickened, their headlights flickered, and then a hand slapped the windshield. Long, thin, fingers dragging across the glass. Nina screamed. Daniel floored it. The car jerked backward, tires spinning on wet pavement. The figures vanished into the mist, but the whispering never stopped. The road that follows you. They made it back to the highway. The fog disappeared. Their GPS started working again. They never spoke about that night. Never told anyone what they saw. But weeks later, Nina woke up in the middle of the night. She swore she heard something breathing outside the bedroom window. She pulled back the curtain, and for just a second, in the reflection of the glass, she saw the road, the fog, and the figures, waiting, watching, smiling. The warning Devil's Hollow Road is still there, still waiting. If you ever find yourself driving through the back roads of West Virginia, if your GPS suddenly reroutes you onto an unmarked highway, and if you see fog rolling in, too fast, too thick, turn around, don't stop. And whatever you do, don't look into the trees. That's tonight's story. Some roads take you where you need to go. Some roads lead you somewhere you were never meant to find. And some roads follow you home. If you like this story, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more terrifying tales. And let me know in the comments, have you ever driven down a road that felt wrong? Until next time, sleep well. The Unexplained House. You won't believe what happened. Some houses hold memories, some houses hold secrets, and some houses don't let you leave the same way you entered. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about the Oakley House in West Virginia, a place so disturbing that even the locals refuse to drive past it after dark. Because those who step inside often leave something behind, the house no one remembers owning. The Oakley House stands on an empty plot off County Road 17. There's no deed, no owner records. The town council says it's been there since the 1930s, but no one remembers anyone actually living there. It's like the house just appeared, and every time someone tries to tear it down, the workers go missing. 3 contractors disappeared in 1998. leaving their tools scattered across the lawn. A survey team in 2004 reported hearing voices inside, even though the house was empty. And then there's James Parker, the last delivery. James was a FedEx driver working the late shift in 2017. One rainy night, he got a weird package with no return address. The label just said, Oakley House, urgent. He almost ignored it, but the company policy was clear: deliver everything, no exceptions. So around 9:45 p.m., James pulled up to the house. The lights were off. The yard was overgrown, but the front door? It was wide open. The door that closed by itself. James called out, "Hello? I've got a package for you." No answer. He stepped onto the porch holding the box. The floorboards creaked beneath his boots, and the air smelled like rotting wood and mildew. He placed the package just inside the doorway, snapped a photo for proof. And that's when the door slammed shut. Hard. James jumped back, nearly falling off the porch. And then he heard it. Footsteps, coming from inside the house. The sound of something coming downstairs. James froze. The footsteps were slow, deliberate, thump, 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 coming down the staircase that he hadn't even noticed before. He stepped back, heart pounding, reaching for his phone. The flashlight blinked on, and for just a second, he saw something at the top of the stairs. A figure, tall, thin, but its face was blurry, like an old photograph out of focus. James didn't stick around. He bolted for his truck, fumbling with his keys, but as he looked back, the front door was open again. The package was gone, and so was the figure. The recording no one can explain. James made it back to the FedEx hub, shaking and out of breath. He told his boss what happened, but no one believed him, until they checked the delivery log. The photo he took of the package? It wasn't just the box. There was a hand reaching for it, pale, too long. But here's the creepiest part. The timestamp on the photo said 10:32 p.m. James left the house at 9:50. Almost 40 minutes had passed. But to him, it felt like seconds. The house is still there, waiting. James quit his job the next day. He moved out of state and refused to talk about the house ever again. But locals say the Oakley house is still there, still empty, still waiting. And every now and then, a package shows up on someone's porch. No label, no return address. Just a note inside, deliver to Oakley House, urgent. The final warning. So if you ever find yourself driving down a quiet country road and you see an abandoned house that looks just a little too perfectly untouched, don't stop. Because some places aren't just empty, they're hungry. That's tonight's story. If you ever delivered a package to a place that shouldn't exist, maybe you didn't just drop off the box. Maybe you left a piece of yourself behind. If you like this story, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more chilling tales. And tell me in the comments, would you deliver a package to a haunted house if you were paid $1,000? Until next time, sleep well.